almost feels like Red thinks I have some kind of affinity with this Dro Ranger. I can tell you it works very, very well with this draft, as the panel was saying, but I don't want to start with that. I want to start with Team Kyle. You're here with me. You are the man that brings reason to madness. I want to know why we're looking at EE Sven again, why we have a Queen of Pain, why Team have these 5 heroes on the board.
That is a couple of really good questions, Toby, because I am so against picking Sven into OD in nearly every scenario. And in addition, the Drow, like, there's so much pressure TNC's lineup can output when Sven, especially as a carry, and they're, I think, tipping him partly because he's playing a hero that I imagine they must have prepped for.
Yep.
It's so slow.
Yeah. Like, how do you find this speed? Like, I was starting like off the draft, like team, like, oh, you know, this is actually going to be really, really good. Like, you've got Brax, and like, he's on a Centaur, he's on a hero that's able to save globally with Stampede. It's a great hero for him to itemize with it. We've seen Brax like being 100% on the money every single item he buys. He knows what his team requires to help carry the rest of his team. And I'm sort of okay with the Queen of Pain. The panel was making a point that we needed to have a rotator. We needed to have a different, like, we needed to have Gunnar having an influence on the map. But my concern for Team is that if the first rotations don't pay off, that they're just going to fall behind quickly.
Yeah, that's pretty much echoing my own thoughts there, Tobes, because you're in a position as Gunnar where if you aren't able to influence the side lanes, TNC is going to hit a critical mass where they're able to kill all of your buildings, and your only real counterplay is to swarm with your entire lineup, utilize the Brax Centaur ulti, and find kills in return. Nice job. Good Fisher to steal the bounty rune.
Yeah, I don't know if Cuckoo really wants to be there, however. Like, you've already let off your first stun, so he'll cop a fair chunk of damage and then make his way back into the lane under the safety of his tier 1 tower. But Cuckoo was ready to cop a beating. He's got 3 mangoes, the 5 tangos. He's ready to heal up.
And I like what Team looked to do, though. They were roaming with 3 as they do have a ton of damage advantage. Concern is bottom lane. You've got the Tim's Nature's Prophet with Drow Aura along with the Drow. It's very difficult to play 2 melee into these heroes. They hit so hard early game. And
you see Tim's build as well, the double Fairy Fires, looking for any kind of extra damage you can get out of it. Normally we've seen the Nature's Prophets go for
Blightstone.
The Blightstone instead. Get that negative armor.
I would have preferred it, I think, when you have the 2 ranged, but it's okay. Mid lane is going to be key. I think Gunnar needs to have a great start, and more importantly, the rune control. That's key, because making rotations as a quap, it's difficult until ultimate, unless you can get something nice, like a DD, like a haste rune, that would almost certainly allow him to join IX Mike and perhaps kill this Darkseer, who's just going to continue to backlane as this game continues.
Used to be one of the biggest strengths, right, of picking a Queen of Pain in mid. The fact you have that blink, you have that ability to grab the runes before the other mid will be able to. And Armel, what do you actually want to see out from this OD? Does he just stay in his lane? Is there a time when he should be moving as well to try and counter Gunnar?
I don't think you feel the pressure to do so. You are totally cool with Quap leaving because Gunnar's going to have to find kills. That's what's important. Like the panel said, they need a rotator, but the problem with that is that he has to also make those rotations work because you're in a position as Team where your mistakes can be punished so much harder than TNC's until your Sven is online to where he actually threatens buildings, which you know, you got to ult for most team fights, and then when it's time to actually hit the towers, it's faded, and you're now just, you know, a Treads Echo Saber Sven.
Look at this from Mike trying to keep the creep wave in position. He was not giving any kind of like breathing room for Eternal Envy. He's got 2 creep waves underneath the tower, having to cop a fair chunk of damage. And IX Mike 88, he's finally going to get rid of Cuckoo. Force him back, a haste rune if he wants to run all the way back to base. But that's not where he's going. He's headed back north.
Yeah, but you can see they're still trading. If you look bottom, Fury and Drow is going to continue to crush this bottom lane. We talked about this in the previous series. When Earth Spirits are picked, if you aren't able to kill the lanes, it just feels bad. And I think Nushim, I agree with what Baseskip was saying, where Nushim was really the playmaker in that series where they were able to go 4-0. When they lost 0-2 the other day to Mineski, he was completely neutralized.
And Brax has to be really careful. Nushim's going to rolling boulder himself out too. It's only 1 point up in the cold arrows, but it still causes enough of a problem to these both melee heroes against a Dro Ranger. This is what the panel was talking about when it comes to the kiting of a Dro Ranger. She's just way too good against these melee heroes who just can't go anywhere else. and then just has an easy courier in Nature's Prophet. That's double Wraith Bands already on the Drow Ranger now, with extra consumables.
Yep, and that is what makes Prophet safe lane just so strong, right? Because not only do you get the free TP back to base, but you now also act as a courier. And nowadays, it's impossible to ever get the courier in side lane, especially this early, which allows, as you can see now, more regen to be consistently funneled out to the OD of Armel.
Oh, rolling boulder forward, Newsham trying to go on to Gabby, but I'm not exactly certain what he's looking to achieve here, apart from copping a fair chunk of damage, giving Brack some space to farm into the tower. But they're back to exactly where they were before. Low on life, having to tango up.
And you can see the problem with the Centaur, where...
Oh, Gunnar, he's going to blink. He doesn't have the mana for the Scream, however. Armel has to imprison him. You've still got the Shadow Strike ticking through Armel's life. And Gunnar can't push it any further, but Armel will survive. While up on top, MV's going to let out his own little bolt. Mike has only 1 point up in Brain Stamp, so not enough damage to threaten the Darkseer.
Yeah, the rune does spawn bottom. It's going to be an Arcane Rune for Earth Spirit. Yep. Looked like maybe there was going to be a TP coming in, but Tims did not have the time.
His Observer Ward actually saw the movement. That's why he ended up just cancelling it. Saw the rune to begin with, then saw it was taken. So not worth it. But Newsham will try and use this Arcane Rune to do something in the mid lane. Armel, he's still slowly regenerating. The Courier is bringing out that salve at the moment. So they try and strike beforehand, but Armel, it's almost like he saw it coming thanks to Vision. Yeah, but still he's going to get kicked and Shadow Striked.
Yeah, Gunnar did have mana for Blink there, but...
Mike, that fissure has kind of locked him up on the hillside. He can't get back down again, so Cuckoo, he's going to surge forward. They need a stun, they need something. They don't have anything. No point in Aftershock, so a simple TP away. While finally Newsham, he's been waiting for that moment in mid lane to strike, and he's been able to do so. While on bottom lane, Tims is on the run away from Brax, and Brax, he's in deep, but still finds the kill. Team with back-to-back kills in the mid and the bottom at the same time the 5-minute rune spawn.
Yep, this is a great decision from Brax. You don't want to stick in lane against a Drow, and whenever you're in a position where you don't want to lane against the enemy core, you just go back lane. And because, look at the supports of TNC, if Shaker's showing top, you know Furion can't mess with you, and he's even able to find that kill just because of the fully stocked up Retaliate. And
that's not what Brax wanted. He quickly TPs out. Having that salve cancelled by the Fissure, he just knows he can't stand in that bottom lane anymore.
Yeah, the concern is the XP differential. Centaur just hitting level 3, Drow almost halfway to 6. And that's the big timing window where all of a sudden the OD, the Fury, and these heroes become very threatening. And TNC, they're cool with a stable laning phase as they're the draft that's going to hit their timing much faster. Envy 35-8, having a free game up top, but no stacks whatsoever. I talked with IX Mike about this, and I was like, man, why don't you ever stack? He's like, it's just not my priorities, man. And I really wish he would change it, but that's just the way he loves to play his dotes.
Well, this is why Envy had Pylai Die in his team for so long, but hey, free agent again. There's at least some stacking from Newsham and IX Mike 88 just happening then. So they got 2 double stacks on that southern side. And then with a quick smoke, they run over the top of the Invis rune. Don't want to pick it up just in case it's being watched. And they're also going to save it for the Queen of Pain. Empty bottle. And they can think about moving to the bottom lane. There's a good dire observer watching Tims and as well as EU. Just hovering around Brax, but maybe that's not the chance they have. They actually have Cuckoo as their only real chance, but Cuckoo's just staying in the trees. Perfect fog of war, and Newsham doesn't find him.
Invis rune on Quap. And it's very threatening. He doesn't necessarily need to use this, but even by just going off map, every lane must now be fearful because they know there's this Quap with ult ready. And Gunnar going for the lane domination build. 3 points already in Shadow Strike. Not going to be able to farm too effectively, but he will be able to find kills if he can get active in the game. But it's just, this is kind of all inning on this idea that I will be finding kills, because otherwise, as Quap, you just fall off.
Well, I don't think he's going to find a kill. He'll find a team fight if he wants one. Bottom lane, the tier 1 tower is being pressured. They're still trying to have their own little battle. Maybe this is one small opportunity, which is on Cuckoo. They'll Nightmare him up. Newsham ready with the rolling boulder forward. He'll get the hit. Envy has a follow-up stun, and this will be one very dead Cuckoo. In fact, Gunnar does blink forward to do what all Queen of Pains do best, and that's kill secure.
Yeah, but they already lost the bottom tower. It's the power of the Drow lineup where if you activate the aura, it makes those catapults attack faster. And it's a really good decision from TNC. They waited, they pulled the catapult wave so they could get a double wave. It's 7.5 minutes in, they still have it alive. And that gives them the ability to potentially even pressure the tier 2. But Brex did a great job. He's going to cut the wave once again and ensure that this push is stopped in its tracks.
Yeah, it was the only thing he could do because you're not going to stand underneath the tower because Team on a D-push.
Exactly.
Gunnar, oh, he's underneath the sentry wall. They're being safe about it.
He sniffed it. He knows that there's something fishy. in that area of the map. But you can see the difference in the lineups, right? Where, yeah, you killed Cuckoo, but did anything really come of it? Not especially. Envy's going to be rushing the Echo Saber once again, it appears.
Maybe that's what you feel like you're getting out of it, is the fact that Envy's able to get to this first item. And if you get a team fight, then again, getting a team fight against TNC, it feels like TNC are the ones who are meant to have that advantage. Like, it's a Darkseer and an ES working together. That's very strong. And speaking of the ES, he's in trouble up on top. Brain sapped as well as Storm bolted up. You'll get the fissure off, but Sven, with that God Strength, you'll only need a couple of hits to kill off the Earthshaker, but that's why the stuns are available. So Nightmare allows Envy to reposition, and they wait for the right timing just to hit into him. Another stump.
No,
and
Mike.
they're making him work for this.
But the 275 gold goes to Mike instead of his carry, Sven.
Tim's is also in trouble. Just trying to contest. They already have a Deep Observer ward, but they were trying to get rid of these stacks so Gabby could get a little bit more from him. And he's finally going to TP out, and it's Brax they're going to deal with. Bottom lane, he's already used that Hoof Stomp. But with the Darkseer and the OD chasing him down, and even Prophet's going to come and join this fight. They're going to split it 3 ways, a quick banishment. I don't know if that's enough to pop him on the way out. Yeah, it will be. That is a level 4 Astral Imprisonment.
That's well played. And you can see, even though it's 5-1 team, it's still slightly favoring TNC the gold advantage, unless they can get this Drow.
Yeah, they can. Stormbolt, Newsham started off with a rolling bottle forward. Gabby has no point in Gust. He can't create the space, and Gunner just blinks forward. Coming out, that Astral Imprisonment in mid, and just, again, kill secure, second of the game.
I feel like we watched this happen a couple days ago, didn't we? Where we watched a super greedy Drow not skill Gust and die because of it. It's so necessary with the pushback as well against Sven, Quap, Earthry, all of these heroes just feed to Gust.
Dire's top tower.
Very, very greedy build.
It's just that lane presence you need to have. Imprisonment from Armel. He'll be able to secure one of the bounty runes, and they've got a lot of friends around. Brax can't get away. He tries to actually stampede it out, but okay. Maybe a little overkill, but a kill's a kill. Still only counts as 1.
You're old slow enough damage in the early game to... It's fine to kill secure with it. 10-minute catapult waves, though. These are big, and I think Team, if you're going to push towers, you want to be utilizing these wagons, because otherwise you just don't have the damage to hit buildings yet. And we talked about this a lot when Blitz is on panel, the wave clear advantage for TNC. When you have a Darkseer, when you have a Drow, and a Fury, and it always just feels like you're going to be playing against creep advantages. Team, it's really just Sven that's going to be willing to stay on map until Gunner's got more farm.
And they really want this kill on Cuckoo. Gunner can keep up with him thanks to that haste rune. They get the quick silence on the Darkseer, and Eternal Envy wants to help out. Starts with his own war cry, and Cuckoo just so fast with the surge once again, back behind the tower, but that's not stopping Gunner from diving almost to the tier 2 to get the kill on the offlaner of TNC.
He's the reason I picked him for the Vodafone view, Tobes. Gunner's the one that's going to have to get aggressive. He's rushing the Orchid. I think that's the way to play it. If you're going to win this game, you're going to have to stay aggressive.
So you go the snowballing items?
There's some games that you can get away with the more utility build. Perhaps, like this is kind of one of them, but there's just, Orchid's got so much value. It means you kill Prophet yourself all game. It's great against the Darkseer and the OD before they have the cleanse mechanics. And when you're this far ahead, in a sense, it's not ahead, but you know, you feel that way when you're 3-0 and 2, right? You're feeling yourself.
And Team are preparing up on top, while on bottom lane they actually start the initiation onto Brax. You got Earthshaker to keep the fissure. Prophet doesn't need a TP in for this, but up on top lane, that's where Cuckoo goes down. OD, he's in, but the Fiend's Grip. IX Mike 88, he got in around the back, isolating the core, and there's nothing that Tims can do to help. This is a Prophet, he doesn't have the stun, so they have to wait for the imprisonment, but the Echo Slam, EU arrives, holding Eternal Envy in position, and finally, at least, Armel will go down. Gunner finds that kill. Bane, he's in the neighborhood, underneath the tower, gusted up. He's already used every ability he's got. He's got at least the brain sap up to get some life. No, Gabby will get the kill in time. And the rest of Team have retreated out.
Yeah, great response there from TNC. They want to ensure they keep staying active with the Gabby Drow. He's got to be willing to engage in these early, just so much damage. He's the strongest hero on map, and Armel's OD is not a hero that's peaking just yet. He needs at least 1, arguably 2 more items before he can get his power level up aboard. Mid lane actually,
Yeah.
towers in deny range. They're picking it out on
They're
Radiant.
picking the crap out of it. It's like, well, okay guys, this is 115 HP. Can someone just walk over, get a couple of hits so we can all have some money? That's an interesting wall from Cuckoo.
It's not bad because, yep, exactly. You can just farm with it now. You still get the Retaliate and the Ion Shell.
So that's one way to do it when you don't have the Dominator.
It's like Close enough, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a poor man's Dominator, but not really. Mid tower will go down. Tim's Treants finished the job. Gunner's attack attempted to cancel it, but doesn't work.
That's
So
well played,
Team want to fight. They three-man smoke up, move through the south.
I think this is the right move. Gonna just keep chasing Cuckoo around the map. You delay his Helma Dominator timing, and that's the mid-game tempo for TNC.
Oh, Cuckoo needs to get the hell out of here. Nightmare's going to slow him down. 5 seconds till he's got that surge back off cooldown, but you know Newsham is there for the silence. They have the rolling boulder, all the control they can find. Here comes your surge, but Brax was already there. But Gunner, you can never run from the Queen of Pain. 6 kills now. On to Gunner. He is definitely performing.
Yep, as expected. I'm happy he's finally on a hero that has the ability to do this, right? We watched him play Ember. It was great. The Monkey King game from yesterday just felt off. He wasn't able to win his lane because he just consistently got roamed on, and I think that's the key for the Quap, right? Where you're also able to protect yourself. You're not able to gank a Quap mid ever. And his only fear now is going to be Gabby, who already finished the Dragonlance with Triple Wraith, and it looks like he'll be going for a Blink Dagger next. This is something Topson popularized, especially when you have the ability to aggro Blink in. And when you have heroes like Quap on the enemy side, Earth, Spirit, Bane, these heroes actually just die to a solo Drow once he hits level 12. Maybe not all of them, but most of them. A little bit of help, you know, if you have a Fisher coming out from your Shaker, who also, by the way, is finishing a Blink in 200 gold.
Yep.
That's crazy fast. It doesn't feel like this game is really taking much time, yet TNC seems almost online.
Yep.
You're going to have HOD on Cuckoo in a second as well.
So they seem ready to fight, but it's kind of funny. I was looking to see Brax's item build, because I thought he would give us the inkling of like what Team was thinking about. And he bought a Blink Dagger, didn't finish up a Crimson Guard. He's not going down this route. He's instead just like, you know what? I'm going to be the initiator. But does that now mean that Team believe that they have to keep this momentum through the Queen of Pain?
The problem is that the TNC cores have a much easier time of dealing their damage, and the Shaker doesn't have nearly as much pressure to initiate. He can wait in the back, counter gank, and when you have Centaur Sven, they're melee heroes. They're going to try and just 100-0 say Gabby.
Oh God, Mike Eddie's just walked directly into both Gabby and Tim's. He has no way to survive. I think he was trying to get another ward down. The ward that is there actually belongs to Radiant. There's a dire one off to the side. He saw a lot walking up that hill, but still continued to walk.
It worked one time. I should have given him credit for that backstab on the tier 2 earlier. He got a full grip off on the OD, but just wasn't able to win that fight afterwards.
Gunner, he can't afford to die. Blinks on cooldown, 3 seconds, but he'll dodge the gust. The stun's still going to hold him. Stampede, he needs time, but he does not have it. The slam is there from ES, and Gunner is down. That's a big one to take. Gabby did get the kill as well, so 492 gold into the draw.
He did buy out first, so he lost nothing on Gunner, but it's the tempo, and that's the problem with Quap right there. It's the reason I'm not the biggest fan of that hero or Lina in the mid lane, because no matter how far ahead you are, no matter what your net worth is, how many kills you've got, you are so squishy that all it takes is these 2 heroes, and you're immediately dead. And there's no real counterplay on Team. You saw the Stampede come out, but it just doesn't matter. It's an Earthshaker. He provides almost 5 seconds of pure lockdown.
Yep. Oh, they're going again. Blink forward, rolling boulder in. Now it's the counter initiation down to Gabby, but he's so quick when he's got the Blink Dagger combining with the OD ulti. Team thought they had something, but they had nothing. Armel claims a triple kill, and TNC will turn their attention to Roshan.
They did the same thing yesterday, Toby. It seems, it's just so strange to me. Like the team, they're a great squad, but they have this habit of making plays that just aren't necessary. Like Envy's not there. His ult was on cooldown. He's farming the jungle, and he's got the blink. So if you want him in these fights, make a move with him. But you know,
it's the disconnection, right? Like this is what we've talked about previously. It's just the disconnection in teams lineup to then execution. But TNC, they're hitting their mark. They're getting their combinations off. And of course, their items arrive just at the right time as well. Having that Blink Dagger on the ES, you thought the Drow Ranger was the one in trouble, but there's always someone from TNC to save.
And you can see, like, that's the problem. It's, again, where Team, they have all these melee heroes. When 2 of your cores are melee, and they have to be in that radius to do any damage whatsoever, it's the easiest Earthshaker game of your life. Like, he's just hanging out waiting.
Yeah, I got the 2 out of the 3 cores that I need to lock down for 5 seconds.
Yeah, and the only way they're going to actually kill anything is if they manage to all in. But now the OD, he's got Aegis, so he's no longer a target. And he also provides the Astral to peel in the event you're able to isolate Gabby in the fight. Just a much easier game for TNC to play. Team, you are not ready to battle just yet. Do this. Oh, but look at the Ancient stack. It was just the Cuckoo, or not Cuckoo, the Tim's tree actually blocked the stack. Just as I was about to say, that's what you need to do, Team. Accelerate, get your Sven the BKB timing.
Yeah.
Then think about making these fights happen.
But if you can't protect your farm, if you can't protect these resources, then it's going to be problematic. Not to mention the fact that TNC is very well aware of this. The Treants are the greatest scouts out there. They can see everything on the map that the wards cannot. And TNC were also looking for information. They were actually smoked up, going for, I think, their own Observer Ward run. I don't know if we actually have. Yeah, there's one Observer Ward on this ES, but if they could find themselves a kill, they'll take that as well. Do you like this kind of like itemization coming in from the OD? He's going Blink and then into the BKB. Over actually having something that quickly deals with, like the Orchid, for example, having like a Yule Scepter.
I think it's fine. Your BKB is the time to win the game. Wait, you mean
I'm only thinking because he has this.
On OD?
I'm thinking something that's able to counter the Orchid early on, or at least gets that from his teammate.
That's a BKB.
That is a BKB, but he has the Blink first. That's why I'm wondering.
I don't like the Blink. I agree with you on that. BKB makes more sense when you consider that they're really just one engagement away from winning the game. However, you do suffer from a lack of initiation, and Shaker and most other combo breakers, Wyvern as another example, benefit from having a core that's able to put themselves in the dangerous position. You don't want to be looking at your Shaker to initiate when all of a sudden now you give Team the option. If that Centaur or the Earth Spirit are able to counteract that, you lose that tool to protect your core. So just let OD go divide, you know? Make it happen and just see what Team does to respond.
Make the space for it, nail the team fight, and then you can just keep winning, right? Okay, fair enough. Makes sense to me. We're going to keep going in right now. Looks like apologies from Gabby. And we have restarted up our match. But Brax, he's gone back in, so he's finished up the Vanguard. He needed that survivability himself. Feels like the magical damage that was really starting to rack up against him too.
The problem I have is that when Brax is on, like we saw his brew, right? He was a major source of damage output. When he plays his Dark Seer, maybe even his Tide, he buys all the teamfight items. But on heroes like Axe and Centaur, all of a sudden you look at the team draft and I just think, okay, who's ever going to be buying the Greaves, the Vlads, anything that really helps your team survive? The Crimson Guard is nice, it's just not, it's not Vlads.
Yeah, he needs it for the rest of his team, and I think it's Earth Spirit who's going to be taking care of the Vlads for the team.
That's a good decision. Yeah. Thanks for pointing that out. It's necessary in this kind of game. You need to stack up as much survivability as possible, and if Sven's not itemizing for lifesteal, you want to make sure somebody's got that aura for him.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And so Team's pressure on the bottom lane, like TNC thought that maybe they'll keep the pressure up, but they're gone.
This is the right decision, though. We were just talking about it. They've got to try and reset and just chill. Let the game develop organically, respond, stop with these weird initiations while Earthshaker just stands in vision waiting to kill you.
So what is the initiation they look for instead?
Just keep mirroring the map. You know, Roche wasn't an objective. I'm not a fan of the warding. I believe they got dewarded in the Radiant jungle, but currently there's no vision up from the Dire side. It makes the game so hard to play, and consider, look at all these treants. There's two in the Dire jungle. They're just he's actually blocking a camp. He's got one running towards the bottom lane. Just constant moving wards, providing vision for the Radiant side. That's a major advantage when you consider TNC already has the teamfight edge at the moment. Might have a fight on these bounties.
Yeah, we do. We have a three-man smoke up. And they have an opportunity. There goes your Stormbolt with a follow-up, waiting to chain off the Hoofstomp nicely, but OD is there, and the Echo Slam! Oh, that's a big hit! Fiend's Grip can kick in, but underneath the Dark Seer wall, it is TNC having all the power. Brax, is he trying to survive? He may actually have enough life thanks to the War Cry. That cannot be said, however, for Eternal Envy and IX Mike 88, trying to move away from the OD. He's even saving his orbs, but with Prophet TPing forward, Envy, he just got the blink off. They didn't get the damage into him, so Envy may be able to survive, but the gusts over on Centaur. He actually TP'd out while being pushed down the hill. Team should be very happy that Brax and Envy got out of that.
There wasn't even a drow in that fight, Toby. It was a 3-for-1. It could have been even worse, but really well played from Gunnar there to get the Orchid off on the OD before he could save his friendly Darkseer.
Oh my god. 3.52 for Team. That's pretty good odds considering this position of the game. It feels like TNC are very much in control of every single engagement that seems to happen. But Team still have ways back into this. They have They have the farming Sven who didn't die. He is still second in the net worth behind the Drow Ranger. He can farm at a very fast rate as well. He can be that big man that we all look Envy to be, or he could be the guy that dies in the offlane, which we also look for Envy to be, and that's exactly what happens. Oh my.
The caster's curse, Toby. You're the expert.
Yeah, that comment didn't age well.
I'm just a bit confused. You know, after they lost 0-2 yesterday to Mineski, the big point Envy made was, you know, we thought we played fine, but we got to look at the draft. And they came out today, and they did effectively the exact same thing in what I would argue is an even worse position. You're taking a Sven into OD Earthshaker. It's just so miserable. And the Prophet as well. You think that Sven's good against this hero, but if anybody ever remembers that iconic Arteezy game where he got sprouted outside the throne, it doesn't always fare so well for our man with the sword.
Sven is pretty manly, but Prophet is a very old and wise man.
Indeed.
Actually, is he a man?
Still, look at the warding as well. Like, there's still no vision up from the Dire side. IX Mike's got 2 wards and 4 sentries queued up. Unfortunately, can't afford any of them just yet, but this is the downside of falling behind, right? You look at the sentry placement from the Radiant team. TNC, you've got so much map control now that becomes near impossible for Team to play this game properly. Gunnar, he had such a great early game. Remember when he started, what was it, 6-0-2?
Yep.
He's now 6-2-3. You can't make plays as the Quap. You've got to respond to what happens around the map.
He's also building into now the BKB, like something that lets him actually stand in these fights and this never-ending disable and magical damage that's being thrown his way. But the momentum Queen of Pain was meant to like get that quickly thanks to kills from the Orchid by getting these single pickoffs, but every single time TNC's just being grouped up together, ready to fight, and they're looking to complete up their own. If they can get it done, they'll just get a full Greaves over on the Darkseer.
Yeah, look at this. They're so annoying. It's just so much vision from the Tim's trees. They didn't quite block the hard camp, but they know exactly where all of Team are, and they're going to
running out. Envy feels it. It's like, I just used my Stormbolt in the wave. I just have to walk around and just run away. But didn't even wait for his team to be in range.
They're so scary right now. TNC, just total map control. And up, there's the Blink coming into play.
Yep, OD imprisonment on the new ship. Could not rolling boulder away in time. Perfectly body blocked up. EU actually kicks him away. New ship may have some space with another rolling boulder. He gets up to the hill and far away and kind of... Yeah, give him a tip. That was a good survival, but also TNC just not having enough players to finish the execution.
Yeah, I have to question the way like Team even play the draft. I've explained why it's suboptimal, but if Envy's going to go this Blink Dagger, but in a game they really aren't comfortable taking fights, it's effectively 2250 gold that just doesn't increase his item progression speed. And
look at him ping every time. Envy appears where our tier 1 tower used to be inside of a lane. They ping and they move towards it.
It's just sweeping the map. It's so easy, and this is the right way to play for TNC. Just keep pushing the lanes. If you look bottom, there's Treants stalling it around the tier 2 that used to be there for Dire. Mid wave and top wave now being shoved, and Team, you've got to be a little concerned because you've really only got 30% of the map to work with right now. Roshan will be spawning in 1 minute to 4 minutes. That'll be the timing for TNC.
Are you still that sad about it, though? Because you did get the BKB over on Eternal Envy. You have finished up the Greaves over on Brax. And Queen of Pain's getting the money to work towards her own BKB. So time is being bought for Team to find these items they may need for a fight.
It is, but at the same time, you look how tanky these TNC heroes are getting. You have a Yul's about to be completed on your Earthshaker. The OD has his BKB as well, along with the Blink. So there's, you go on someone
They just found Mike. Vac will cancel out his TP. Ike's Mike 88, almost body blocked up there by Tim's, but it's Gabby who brings the heavy damage in to find the kills, and that's all for the battle of the 25-minute bounties. And they're going to get all 4 TNC.
Yep, that's map control for you. I get where you're coming from. I don't want to say Team's out of this just yet, but...
Hey, I'm trying to remember what the Monty Python boys always say. Look on the bright side of life for Team. They're getting time for items to potentially let them fight.
It's just so easy for Sven to be out counter-initiated. Like, you blink in, you pop your ult, you pop your BKB, you start hitting somebody, and then, oh, blink in Astral. And there's absolutely no way to stop the OD unless Mike's able to pre-click his grip as he comes into the fight.
Yeah,
bear in mind, look at his net worth. He's got Tranquil Boots. It's just... You'd require some flawless positioning on this Bane.
So let's talk about the positioning around Roshan then, because that's the next point that we know TNC will go to. And after that, they'll go high ground. But does Team play around Roshan, or do they want to play around their high ground? And are they capable of doing either of these things right now? Maybe I
think you can play around
I
Roche.
shouldn't have tagged on that last bit. Let's just think about the nice, perfect situation for Team around Roshan to contest TNC.
I mean, just look at the minimap, folks at home. Look at the 4 little orange dots and the 5 more that have just spawned. Look at the placement. Look at the sentries. This is map control. How do you get to the Roche pit with your map
Without
this
being
dark?
seen. Yeah, you have no information on anything at the moment.
And meanwhile, you see Sven on this bottom ward that they've placed on the hill, and you can see Envy just continuing to farm. He's got the small crit. They're going to scan the pit, but this is the drow factor. Like, they're smoking up, but it's way too late.
They cannot fight this. They dropped an observer ward right on top of the sentry for TNC.
There is a DD bottom. If Envy could find that, that'd be huge. They have no vision.
It's just the never-ending. It's like the blind leading the blind.
There's a lot of gold for TNC to spend.
God, Cuckoo is such bait. He knows he can just get rid of this observer ward. He wants Team to initiate in on him. He's got so much life available. He's got so much support sitting right behind him. And Team, they have to fight from the high ground.
Yeah,
it's not like they have buybacks that help him. Like, everyone is out. They do not have the money for it. They're all short by at least 200.
Yeah, but they're so close to these huge items on TNC. I just love what they're doing. You know, Greaves about to be completed on the Darkseer. Vlad's already up on the Furion. You've got the Crimson, not just the Vanguard, but the HOD. I think he's going to look for a Wolf because that's really just the last piece of the puzzle for TNC to maximize their damage output, really just hit about as peak of a timing as possible with their lineup and look to go take that game-deciding fight with their 13K gold lead.
And you look at the guys who know Envy very well, Cuckoo and Tims, are the biggest SEA rivals. They know how this game should play out. And Team, like this, the longer they delay this, yeah, the rougher it does seem to get. But I also wonder about TNC's ability to push high ground. OD is not very good at this. The Drow Ranger and the Prophet, however, are absolutely fantastic. So if they survive the fight, then some damage can be done to Team.
Yeah, it's just the level disparity. You know, we're talking about net worth, and that looks a bit grim, but you've got a level 9 Bane and 11. Your support, your 3, 4, 5 are 9, 11, and 13. Compare that to TNC.
Where the lowest is 13.
Exactly. Even your 4 position is level 16. So far, I definitely would give my MVP to AU. Just a pretty much flawless Shaker. Done his job. Nothing he's needed to do really except counter-initiate on the 3 heroes he sees standing on top of each other. But still, look at the lines. Like, again, just keep sweeping. It's all you got to do. Force Team back into base or make them fight you.
This is why they're trying to get rid of any kind of vision team, like that's inside their own jungle, so they can allow Envy to bounce through the camps, and then he just TP to the other side. You know how Envy knows this is going to go on for a while? He's got 3 TP scrolls. This guy's not going to be caught short. There's no Cloud9ing right here.
Look at this. They're going to get the ward if they see it. Doesn't look like they did.
Bane, TP out. That won't work. Or will it? Yeah, no, it won't. The Fissure. It can reach it, but look at Envy. He's still running to the tier 2 tower. Underneath it will Stormbolt blink to the trees, and then quickly TP's out. He's got to deal with the mid. He's trying to find this money to give the incredible damage you know you need to get for Team. He needs to finish this Daedalus.
Indeed he does.
But my God, they're right behind him. He's underneath an observer ward. This ward's got 10 seconds left, but 10 seconds is all they need. The jump forward. Is there a BKB? The rolling boulder. Have they got the damage? Yes, they do. Sven will go down. Yushin will join him as well. Maybe there's a counter. Nature's Prophet too far forward. No, Gunnar knows he's got nothing else to give. Holds the Sonic Wave back. And they will try and force buybacks here, TNC.
He does have his. Are they going to be able to get Quap here? He might have to BKB immediately.
Oh, practice snap. He's blink. He can't jump forward. He's trying to push Gabby around. Maybe with the hoof stomp they can do it. The Fiend's Grip is straight onto Armel. He is actually going to go down here. A huge kill for Gunnar to be able to claim. And he wants to blink forward, looking for more. They'll pop the Aegis Immortal on the Drow Ranger. She has to be target number 1. EU, great earn charge from Yushin. Means that he cannot help him out. But the blink, Gabby got out from underneath all of them. Mana dodges the first attack from Gunnar, but he cannot dodge all of Team right on top of the Drow Ranger. Gabby will fall a long time on the sideline. And you can see Yushin. He wants more, but TNC have already left. Team hold even after the death of Eternal Envy. He did buy back, however. It was expensive.
Check out the gold change, though, Toby. It's great for Team, don't get me wrong, but you would have hoped for more than a 98 gold swing with so much invested. Still a lead for TNC. A slight mistake on their side. I think you have to put the Aegis on the OD, because he's the one that would actually be able to save his friendly Drow Ranger. And Gabby as well. A bit overconfident, blinking just into the base.
Yeah.
After you've already found the 2 kills, you know they're going to buy back, and in fact, they both did. Just got to be a little more patient. Buys a little time for Team. That third Roche now could be the big engagement where they could look to turn this around, because the Daedalus on Sven, as you said, he'll have that soon.
Yep. But I still think it's still okay for like Eternal Envy. Yeah, he didn't get any of the kills out of this, but it went to the hero you wanted it to go on. The one to get the momentum, the Queen of Pain.
Oh.
Having the BKB, going into the Aghanim Scepter. The Aghanim Scepter is queued up. You know what this is, though. You know what this is.
I do?
It's the D push. It's the non-stop D push. It's also the death of Newsham. But this is inevitable.
I'm not a fan of the Aghanims, Tobes. I get it, but I think that you need to be looking to try and deal physical damage, because that was the fight before Gabby had BKB, which he's going to finish in 200 gold. If he has one, he's not dying. If the OD gets his BKB off before Mike got the grip, which, again, we said that was the way they were going to win fights, right? You've got to get the grip pre-BKB. It's a lot more difficult as it goes on, and
Another catch, 1 by 1. These supports are caught outside their own base. You know Team were trying to make the most of the space, the death time that TNC had to re-establish vision on this map. But the vision was still there. Observer and Sentry just was watching IX Mike 88 so closely.
Yeah, and he's going to switch it up. Gunnar just switch quick by to Hex, which I think is better. I feel like maybe a Shivas or AC could be preferred, but Hex is nice because the way they're playing the game thus far, you can tell that Team's all about pushing the waves.
Ooh. Hey, you. Gunner's going to blink over. Prophet's coming to join him as well. They're pinging down, but no, they'll see him walking down the lane. Here's your Yule Scepter. It just sets up for the Enchant Totem, but nope, Gunner's got himself an Orchid. So he'll blink and TP away to the Shrine, but right underneath the Radiant Observer Ward.
Yeah.
Once again.
This is how you got to keep playing as Team. Just split the map, push lanes, cut waves, and try and find kills when TNC gets split. You're not going to win team fights, but you can certainly take these 2-on-2, 3-on-3 engagements.
They see so much. They're using the Dominator creep to get the initial stun out. It will be picked off. Let's try and buy time for Gabby to get closer and have his own fight, but they don't really have enough support there.
Oh my goodness, Armel's got his own Hex.
Yeah. This is scary as hell. Like, yeah, just mop up the bottom wave. This will give them the final points of money.
This is very scary for Team. You're still in this. I'm just not certain what the big item. It's the Daedalus, and they're going to make the smoke move.
Yeah,
there's no better spike.
They need to hit hard and fast, get a kill, and move on to the next. Cuckoo is going to present himself for Eternal Envy. He doesn't get the blink off, but the Hex! Armel got off in time, and the Echo Slam hits so hard! Team! They are slammed into oblivion! Gabby will have the triple kill, a blink away for Gunnar. He's done so much, but he cannot do any more. He's on the run. He'll blink once more, but into the mid, you're looking for the push. Maybe they can find the kill. Yeah, they're going to chase him to the ends of the earth. A Yule Scepter up, the perfect gust timing, an ultra kill for Gabby. TNC, they just waited perfectly, and Team, they came to them.
Just feels like a draft loss, followed up by a standard game of Dota 2, Toby. TNC, they did a great job, don't get me wrong. That 10th pick Drow was perfect, and it gave them a huge advantage, but this was business as usual. This was standard scripted Dota 2, how to win a game as Radiant. And level 20, I love this talent on Darkseer. It's my favorite to watch in all of Dota 2. Envy's dead for 60 seconds, no buyback. They're going to most likely
end up try and Shadow Blade Orchid initiate. Okay, no, he's going to Shadow Strike everyone. Rolling Boulder in the double gust onto Brax was Ice Mike 88. Newsham can at least get their ears ringing with the Magnetize in the back lines. But really, at TNC, they have the space, they have the support, and Team are just giving them extra KDA. GG is called. TNC will take game 1 against Team.
Yeah. Not much more to add, Toby. I think the Shaker pick was excellent. You got Darkseer, one of the best 4s, one of the best 3s in Dota 2. I think Team reached a bit, not really sure what to put Brax on in the game.
Yeah.
And not a draft built to address the OD, not one bit.
It's kind of funny because you can see some of the perks in the Queen of Pain. A great start there. Then the Sven, the perk when you see the damage, at least the amount of damage he had, even though it was never really inflicted into anybody. The initiation that could come as well. Like all these different things kind of were working as individual factors for Team, but TNC just had this great rounded lineup. Like you have ES and Darkseer just alone, that's enough for me, but when you add the Prophet and the Droid Ranger, there's these perfect synergies between the two that it works so well, and TNC, a well-deserved victory in game 1.
Yes, indeed. Not sure they should be called TNC. Maybe TNT, because they've just blown Team apart with a fantastic victory, gents. And it was... I don't want to put it all on the Drow, but my goodness, that worked.
Yeah, it was fantastic. The lane looks really good. And OD is so scary with all that attack speed. Like, the itemization for OD these days doesn't necessarily always take him in that direction of getting a bunch of attack speed, and people end up going for the attack speed talent. But when you give him that farm acceleration, especially with the new AoE orb, it just gets out of hand so quickly.
Then the activization of like marksmanship and making the range creeps attack really quickly, while you also have a Darkseer, you also have a Furion. Like, there's so much split pushing, that so much space is being created at the same time that even when you had team like running around the map and getting kills at a certain point in like 12 minutes, they were stronger and they were getting these kills. They couldn't actually turn that into a net worth lead, and they couldn't actually turn it into important towers either. Right. They really had to almost over gank, right? They had to pull like 4 heroes in to be able to get 1 kill to turn it into a tower, and they never got that mid-tier 1 tower, which is, you know, pretty essential for being able to take a lot of this map control. You add on to the fact that I don't actually understand how AU was able to get such a fast Blink Dagger in that game. But he did, and the moment he had that Blink Dagger, I mean, the first reveal was actually on being able to kill the Queen of Pain. Got the pick off on Gunnar, but then it's like 2 or 3 fights after that, he's still showing up with the Blink Dagger. It's like team surprise. They're like, what? Gunnar's like blinking in melee range with his 2 melee cores and going, whoa,
we got 3 man echo
Blink
slams?
Earthshaker, holy crap.
Yeah.
That's not a good idea to have 3 heroes grouped up, but I don't know. It was just a pretty rough showing from team all around.
I mean, first 12 to 15 minutes, kind of okay, but
that was all right. The back laning was working.
Exactly. I mean,
the mid lane was going okay.
I mean, I take Cap's point. They weren't turning it into an advantage. I mean, I think it was like 250 gold between them at 12 minutes because they just couldn't seem to move. But if you look at the kills thing, you think they're way ahead.
Yeah, it's it was such a hard game. I think the point about the split, though, like the constant lane pressure, is a really good one to focus on, because you look at I think the Sven and the Queen of Pain could have dealt with the lane pressure from like the Darkseer and the Nature's Prophet, but as soon as you add the Drow Ranger in there and you're occasionally just popping your aura, the map gets so small all the time. You're spending all of your time with your cores separated, just trying to deal with the lanes, and that's creating all these opportunities for TNC to get these pickoffs. And like you're saying, you have to go way past where the wave is to get the kills, because TNC have this huge portion of the map to be able to farm in.
And it just snowballs, right? Like, that's why you want to be able to take that mid tower, because as a team, if you are able to, the team that wants to be more aggressive, you're able to take those outer towers and start closing out the map on your side, all of a sudden that split push doesn't become as effective, because you're able to do the play where you see TNC where they're just kind of running back and forth. The map is small for them because they've managed to push in all the waves, and just naturally how a square goes, right? It goes into that corner, so you just boop, 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 go back and forth. But when they're not able to do that, and the map is spread so far apart, and they're actually the ones who are getting pushed around constantly, then there's just so much space for TNC to be able to farm up and get those very critical items.
This was much more like a team draft, but where did it go wrong for them?
Well, I like this Sven.
A lot of heroes got just a little bit too much, I think, and then also they didn't necessarily play to all of their timings. We talked about this patch being like, you get your timings and you got to put those timings together. And they had the Blink Dagger on the Sven, and Kyle called it out a little bit during the cast. Like, you've got this Blink, but Envy's never really there at the fights. He's busy farming the jungle, he's busy pushing out the waves, and they couldn't really get everything together. I think that's the problem. Their lineup was designed to, they wanted to go for these smokes, and they wanted to get the kills and segue into an objective, but they just couldn't do it.
Yeah, the combination of like, maybe it was a draft disadvantage, like maybe like, I don't know, drafting Sven is always kind of questionable for me, but like you're drafting Sven into an OD as well, but they seem to believe in it. I don't really know what Sven is right now, but they seem to believe it then. But then also the fact that in-game, it also looks very dysfunctional. You remember that river play where like tried to initiate, and you're like, where's their damage? Like, oh, I guess it's Envy. I guess he's supposed to be there.
He's walking. He's like,
and he had God Strength pops.
Yeah. Well, he was using God Strength to farm the jungle. And like they went in, and I think they were expecting Envy to connect, and they just died too fast.
Yeah, it was just like, that was such a dysfunctional team fight that they tried to start.
Yeah.
And that was just one of many.
Yeah, maybe a little bit rusty. Got to shake off the rust in game number 1. After all, they weren't playing earlier. TNC were. Maybe that was a small advantage. We'll find out as we head towards game 2. First up, though, let's check in with Purge and get some weather.
The game was looking okay for Team for a while, but it eventually didn't end up great. One good thing that they were doing was invading a lot and bringing Quap in for rotations to snag some crucial kills. These really helped her get ahead. But at some point in the game, they didn't all go great. They were able to split the creep wave a lot, and Brax was consistently farming towards his Blink Dagger at a good speed. And Gunnar did get a couple great rotations, but it wasn't necessarily the most beneficial thing in the world. There was at least a rotation kill on the Drow Ranger. They put wards really deep. They spotted her AFK jungling. They shifted over Envy, and they rolling bouldered in and secured the kill once again with Gunnar jumping in last second to grab the kill to prevent Drow from getting free levels. And this was all great and all, but the problem was that the Earthshaker got a stupidly fast Blink Dagger. At 15 minutes here, Drow Ranger also has a Dragonlance and a Blink Dagger of her own. And with this kill here on Gunnar, despite him having 6 kills, that streak ends up going back over to the other team, which is not very good for them. And eventually, this kind of leads into another fight at the 16-minute mark here, where they bait out the grip, instantly blink and interrupt the Fiend's grip, kill Mike, and then they roll in with a Centaur as well. Easy cleanup here with extra attack speed on Armel, and all of a sudden, the game completely swings to a 4K gold lead, which they transitioned heavily into sentries. They made sure they had full map control, so Team couldn't even get on the map, and that basically just allowed them to compound on their lead and take an easy win.
Good stuff, as always. Thanks, Birch. Nice to highlight a few pieces. Are you enjoying the segments?
I loved it with it, man, honestly.
Could just piece them all together, and I quite happily watch that all day.
For sure. There's all the people that talk about, they watch Kevin's patch analysis videos, fall asleep. It's a few hours of good content.
Whoa, careful. What do you mean fall asleep? These are
it's very soothing. These are
great. Informative 9-hour patch notes.
I actually think that there's something that we didn't bring up. Basically, I would love for you to be able to talk about what you said in the break room about the aggressive vision that was laid out.
That was really
Kevin
cool.
pointed to the aggressive vision that they had for the Drow Ranger, and they did get her once, but before that, TNC had actually read that play.
Yeah, TNC next leveled them a little bit, so after they took that bottom tier 1 tower, they went and planted a super deep ward over just in that tri-camp area. It's a pretty standard spot. And then they just had the Drow Ranger play there for a little bit because they'd already anticipated that Team were telling themselves, okay, they've taken bottom, now Drow is going to move over that she has the level 6 and go farm her own tri-camp. And they put a super deep ward there, but TNC dodged it for a really long time just by taking control of that right-hand side of the map, which is super cool.
Yeah, very clever, very smart stuff. As we've come to expect from these top professional players here in Dota 2. You're tuned in to ESL One Mumbai. We're coming towards the end of our first day inside the Dome, but there's still a little bit more Dota to play. How much is completely up to the teams. We'll see how far we go after the break.
Now is the counter initiation down to Gabby, but he's so quickly through the Blink Dagger combining with the OD ulti. Team thought they had something, but they had nothing. He's going to present himself to Eternal Levy. He does get the blink off, but the Hex! Armel got up in time, and the aggro save